Have you ever experienced shame or fear when it's come to your own sensuality?
Not being able to express myself freely and openly to who I am and what my needs and desires are and wants in life. But as I grow older, I'm able to express them on a level of a higher maturity, I'd say. Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time with the Army, and in that organisation it isn't culturally accepted to be so expressive of your sensuality. So for me there was a bit of a process of unlearning some bad habits where I didn't view myself as being entitled to feel that I was worthy of a sensual existence. So the more that I've got rid of that, the more that I'm able to embrace a place of less shame and less fear. My background was within, as a reservist within Special Forces, and so I spent 13 years working with defence and deploying overseas as well as doing a lot of training in Australia. I was surrounded by a lot of men, and a lot of men that had a wounded idea of what it was to be masculine. They thought that to show your fear or admit your vulnerability would be somehow a sign of weakness. Whereas I actually now view that as a sign of strength. The more that I'm able to be vulnerable with people and accept that I'm still lovable and worthy, independent of whether or not somebody else is judging me, or independent of any of the tasks that I'm given or that I do, when that's the baseline condition, there's no requirement to not embrace all of my personality. Yet in defence, there's a very wounded understanding of what it is to be a man, and it leads to a culture where people are afraid to accept certain parts of their being, and there's a lot of guys hurting.
My experience with shame and fear around sensuality. Well, probably as a young man, as a pubescent, boy becoming a man, there was certainly lots of shame and fear. Shame of feeling sexual and feeling sexually aroused and not knowing when that was appropriate or if it was appropriate. And my mum was a bit religious, so she had a take on that. She had an angle on that, which is different to what I believe these days. So there was definitely some shame and fear there, and shame and fear being with girls when I was younger, and being unsure, and what should I do, and is all of this sort of normal? Is all of this okay? And so in those, I guess those sort of teenage years, that can be quite challenging, quite confronting.
Very confronting.
Yeah, and then I guess for me personally, growing up, it became less, there was less shame and less fear and
more pleasure.
Yeah, more pleasure, more pleasure. And I guess embracing it and enjoying the diversity of experience, and realising that something which worked with one partner didn't work with other partners, and in fact some things that worked with one partner today didn't work with that partner the next day, and so there's that sense of discovery and exploration, and that's pleasurable and it's fun, and I love travelling, so I guess it's kind of travelling without moving. It's being able to have those experiences with somebody and with yourself as well.
I really haven't had any shame. For me, being able to express myself is really important, and listening to what other people are saying in their self-expression and their freedom to be able to be honest and transparent. So I think that you might be embarrassed, but you certainly wouldn't feel shame.
Yeah, good.